Any comment on the largest income pilot in North America in Los Angeles, put out by the governor, where 3,000 chosen families get $1,000 per month? Yeah, what we're going into election season, right? Like, that's what that is. Like, just pass a basic income. It's the only thing I take seriously anymore, by the way. Like, pilot projects, like this, what a fucking joke. Just do it. It's cheaper than what you're doing. It saves you money, right? It saves you money. We've done the pilot projects. We've seen the results. How many times do you need to do the experiment? How many times do you need to actually see it happen? How many times, right? Enough with it. Enough with it. It's so the only reason that they do this kind of stuff is to dangle it in front of people and see, I care. See, I care. I definitely care, right? They don't give a fuck. They don't care at all. 3,000 chosen families? Who gives a fuck? Like, who gives a fuck at all? Right? It's less than like 1% of the population. Who gives a fuck? Even a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. It's a total fucking joke. Stop with the pilots. In my view, it makes people look cynical, and it makes them look like total assholes, is what it does. To me, they don't look like they're altruistic, nice people who are actually trying to help. To me, it looks like controlled dissent. It looks like a way for them to garner votes. It looks as cynical as it possibly can, right? And we all know what's going to happen. They'll put out the project. They won't let it complete. They never do, right? So they'll kill the project as soon as they get what they want, which is to be elected again. So they'll kill the project. Or they might let the project complete. And then they'll be like, well, we really need to take a look at this data. And then they'll shove it in a drawer and forget about it. Like, there is no politics in America. There is no politics. It doesn't exist. It's just fucking vanity projects. That's all it is. It's just a series of vanity projects. I'm the mayor of Los Angeles. Aren't I the greatest? They don't give a fuck. They don't care, even a little. If they cared, they'd pass the basic income, right? Because it would be cheaper than what they're doing now. But they don't give a shit about that. The suffering is the point. They want you to suffer. That's the point. Ugh. Los Angeles Economic Assistant Pilot, or Big Leap, is a new program totaling nearly 40 million, wow, or 0.0000001% of the economy. Who gives a fuck? Set to begin later in October and benefit around 3,000. Yeah, it's just straight up. You know what, man? I almost guarantee it. Los Angeles mayoral election. Election season. Election season. It's election season. Wow, here's a popular idea that we can throw a crumb at and pretend like we actually give a fuck about. Right? It's election season. Like, these guys don't care. They genuinely do not care. Like, they don't care about the results. They don't care about what's going to happen. They don't care if it actually helps anybody. They don't care. They want they want to win the next election. And if people being like, wow, he actually did a pilot project. Oh, 3,000, yeah, great. Vote for him. That's good. And then they'll take the results and throw it in a bin, right? Maybe tuck it in the back of a room somewhere. And then 20 years later, somebody will stumble upon it and be like, oh, hey, it's the results of that thing, right? Which is exactly what happened with the Dauphin experiment. It's exactly what happened. Like, and hey, Ruth, how you doing? Chicago, great, right? Another pilot project during election season. Yeah, I really buy into this. Oh yeah, they're real serious about this. Like, pass it. Pass the basic income. Say that we know we need a support system in place because the private sector is not doing it. Just period, is not doing it. And it's going to be cheaper to do than what we're doing now. Like, how do I know all of these politicians are just using it as a way to inflate their own profiles and to convince gullible rubes to vote for them? because they're not actually walking around saying, hey, the basic income's cheaper. Hey, the basic income's cheaper. Like, the basic income's cheaper. It's cheaper, right? None of them are actually saying that. No one's actually saying that. Isn't that fun? Isn't that interesting? How no one's actually walking around saying probably the number one selling point for the basic income is, hey, this thing eliminates poverty and it's cheaper than what we're doing now. Like, it's cheaper, straight up. Which only leaves the most rapacious sociopaths who are just like, well, they didn't earn it. They didn't earn it. They didn't earn it. They should be in poverty and die. Those are the only people left. So conservatives, right? Like, the system works. We know it works, and it's cheaper, and nobody actually says that. I've never heard Jagmeet Singh say it. I've never heard Annamie Paul say it. I've never heard Justin Trudeau say it, because they don't care. And they know that if they start saying that out loud, people will suddenly go like, wait a minute, it's cheaper? Holy shit, this thing is cheaper? And then they'll actually demand that it happen, right? But as we're seeing from these liberals, they don't work for us. They don't work for us at all, even a tiny little bit. They don't give a fuck about us even a little. They only think about us insofar as they keep us suppressed. That's it. How do we keep the serfs and the plebs suppressed? That's all they care about. How do we keep the wage slaves doing all the work for us while we do nothing? That's all they care about, exclusively. And so, yeah, they're going to throw, oh, yeah, basic income pilot project, yeah, 3,000 people, yeah, ha, 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 yeah, of course, ha, ha. And gullible rubes will be like, oh, it's better than nothing, check. Like, it's grow-up time. Like, it's time for the population to grow up and realize that these politicians are frauds, that they only care about their own power. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else, right? They're not interested in helping people. That the CERB was always a panicked decision in order to save their own skin. And once they felt safe, they were happy to dismantle it, as they did. Like, we're being abandoned by these guys. What we are experiencing is full-scale abandonment while we like, oh good, they threw a crumb at us. They really care. Get fucked. It's time to grow up. It's time to look at the Karens and the Kens and spit on them, because they're gross. They're disgusting people. It's time to look at the conservatives that are throwing people out on the street and saying that they deserve it, and call them the fucking Nazis and fascists that they are, because they're fucking disgusting. And it's time to say to our elected officials, we are not going to vote for you unless you pass this thing. And I don't mean a pilot project like fucking Del Duca is offering. Like this joke idea that like, yeah, I actually do care. I'm certainly not going to take those results and shove them in a bin and forget about them like we did with fucking Dauphin. Like, get fucked. We should abandon the conservatives. We should abandon the liberals. And at this point, I'm happy to say, abandon the NDP. Abandon these guys. They've already abandoned you. They don't care about you at all. They don't care about you at all. Vote communist, surround the halls of power. Stop pretending like these guys give a shit. Stop pretending like they give a shit about you at all. Hey, if you've made it to this point, like, share, subscribe the video. My Patreon's down below. Support leftist voices, right? Support people like me who are going to get thrown out into the street because of this bullshit, right? Support, actually take some money and give it to somebody, right? Actually give a shit. I don't know. And hey, if my live stream is 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come in here. Cry with me. Do you have somebody to talk about while you're being abandoned? Right? Because you're being abandoned. Do you have anybody to talk to about it? Come talk to me. Right? Good luck. We're going to need it.